thank you all for taking time out. We're obviously here to talk about Tummy Monster. I think as we're talking, we're a few hours away from the Glasgow premiere. How are you all feeling?
I'm very excited and really calm.
Yeah, I think I'm excited. I'm a bit nervous, but yeah, I think it's exciting being part of something that's going to split folk. I think people are going to, some people, if you like it, they're going to really like it.
Everyone will love it. Everyone.
Well, I don't know if I agree with that, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Yourself,
Well,
Michael?
Yeah, I'm seconding both of that. Yeah, excited.
Yeah.
I guess, we should start, at the beginning. What was the inspiration for this story? Because it's not necessarily, a traditional narrative.
Yeah, I mean, you hear a lot of stories about celebrities who are kind of pushing back against, selfie culture, and maybe the way sometimes that's expressed is if they feel like they're being, in worse scenarios, like held to ransom. That although what seems to the person who's asking for a photograph or a selfie, it's like really innocuous, not a big deal, but like if someone's been asked that 10,000 times, it starts to be painful and a torment, and it's kind of cruel. But yeah, and I've no experience of that, but I suppose I was trying to get my head into that, and that's where the story came from, I suppose. So yeah.
What are your guys' thoughts on the whole selfie culture? Because I kind of feel that being famous these days is very different to what it was, 20, 30, 40 years ago. How do you guys feel about, the advent of social media and, selfie culture?
Well, I mean, the stage that I'm at in my career, anytime someone wants a selfie with me, I'm always like buzzing because it usually means that they know they've seen something and they've enjoyed it. I think where it turns into something a little bit darker is when people haven't seen you in anything. They just know that they should get a photo with you because you're famous. So it's not about wanting something from someone because you admire them or because you've seen something or whatever it is. It is simply, oh, I need to get a photograph of that person because they're famous. And there's something quite hollow about that exchange. So
yeah, it's almost like there's an imagined ownership of this person's image, which I don't think it's necessarily particularly good-hearted, or not necessarily. It can be fine, but I think that there is a danger to it. So, but we're all saying this. If anyone, we would all be very excited if someone did want a selfie, but
yeah,
we're not at that point.
Yeah, I just wanted to add that on the flip side, I feel like it's always a wonderful opportunity for someone to be able to look at themselves and appreciate themselves, or look at themselves with someone who they admire, and appreciate themselves next to someone who they admire. If it shines a light on yourself and allows you to look at yourself in a way that's a benefit to you, then why not?
Yeah.
I don't think that's what.
No,
that's not.
Yeah. I mean, have you guys got any, selfies on your phone of anybody, particularly famous that you proudly managed to snag that snap of?
To be honest, I've had quite a lot of moments to do that, and I've decided against it. I've always decided that that an experience with someone who, especially someone that you actually really admire, I've decided not to, because it feels more like it's mine. So more intimate, like I've been able to have a conversation with them and talk to them and not hassle them, and then kind of go away going like, that experience was about me and them rather than about me trying to show the wider world that one day I was next to this person.
Right.
So I've not, the last one that I got that I was well proud of was when I was about 15. I got a selfie with Warwick Davis. But it wasn't even a selfie. I got someone else to take the photograph,
right?
Because selfies weren't a thing.
So still,
selfies weren't a thing back then.
it was still personal to you.
It was very personal. Warwick Davis is well cool.
You the guys, any for you two?
Not really.
No, not for me. I think me and Ciaran are quite similar in just the fact that it's just there, and that's what it is, and anything else is extracurricular semantics. No offense, Lord.
I didn't say I loved them.
Yeah, no. Obviously, I've interviewed a lot of people, and I think the only one that I've the only one I've risked it with was with Jake Gyllenhaal, and that was purely because I knew it was going to make my mum insanely jealous.
That's
It's like,
fair. That's fair.
you know.
I actually think that I would definitely take a selfie if I knew it was more about someone else seeing me with that person and how annoyed they're going to be knowing that I'm next to them. Yeah, then it's justified.
Yeah.
And Tummy Monster, like a lot of independent films, had a really short shoot schedule. I think this one was 5 days.
Yeah.
What, other than the fact it's only 5 days, what are the challenges that you guys face, and how did you, cast and crew sort of work together to make sure that you had everything that you needed?
I mean, I hope these guys had everything they needed. It was.
I did. I did.
It was. Yeah. It was definitely tough, but I think what we gained from that was like level of intensity, and me and Michael, we've just been chatting for the last hour and a half, just remembering the experience, and then what was nice is it didn't give you too much time to reflect and second guess yourself.
Mm.
Yeah.
I think when you get a micro budget film with 5 days shoot, professionally, you think that professionalism or something like that could kind of go out the window in replace of, oh no, but it's about the art kind of thing. And that wasn't the case with this as well. This felt like a weirdly very well-oiled machine. It was a machine that was trying to do, a ridiculous amount in such a short period. But I never felt like the cast, the crew, anyone, the runners, anyone wasn't at the top of their game every single moment of the 5 days. And I think if anyone had dipped, we would have gone over, we would have missed stuff. So it was a proper team effort.
It really was, yeah. It was amazing to see everyone doing that. And yeah, it was, this thing that just starts as like some daft wee guy at a desk, and then it's much bigger than that. People were really pitching in and pushing to get this thing made and making it way better than I could have hoped. So yeah, it was great to see.
And Tails has a very, specific look. You're here today. There's no neck tattoo or anything. How much did the costume and the tats and everything inform how you played the character?
Yeah, massively so. With a lot of characters that you get the script of, you don't immediately decide on what their aesthetic is going to be. You kind of go for maybe the heart of who they are and kind of work out from there. But with Tails, because vanity is a big part of his life and ego is a big part of his life, the way that he wanted the world to see himself was so important to then work out more of the kind of deeper parts of the character. So once me and Ciaran and Jen and MV had kind of decided on the hair, the makeup, the look, I was able to basically for maybe like a week and a half before we started shooting, just walking around with the tattoos, with the dark hair. I changed my wardrobe. I actually look closer to the character now than I usually do, just because I'm wearing a black hoodie. But just kind of going out into the world and seeing how people engage with you, and how different that is, and how that makes you feel. All of that was really, really helpful for what had to be kind of making big decisions quite quickly. So yeah, massively so. And it also informs the music you listen to as well. I wanted to kind of I made a playlist, we made a playlist, we listened to lots of music that we felt the character would listen to, what was guilty pleasures, all of those kinds of things. And that really, really helped with the mindset of the character.
Yeah, we did that with all the characters actually, and yeah, it was nice that they existed in their own worlds. Like they didn't actually necessarily need to know everything about each other. Yeah, that was fun. I think this is the first time. Yeah, this is the first time Michael's seen Lorn with blonde hair and no
Blonde
tattoos.
Now, I only, I watched this film for 90 minutes a couple of weeks ago, and I kind of feel like I need deprogramming, because still going around in my head is, keep rubbing your tummy or I'll think you're an asshole. How long did it take for you guys to sort of, forget that? Because that's, 5 days. That's it's always like chanted throughout the film. Are you triggered by those words now? Have you managed to recover?
Yeah, I do find it a little bit triggering. But I know that sounds like a ridiculous thing to say, but for 5 days when it's said at you, and also you've got to have a reaction to those, it is like training a dog,
Yeah, Pavlov's dog.
Pavlov's dog. And it is yeah, I think throughout the filming, because obviously you watch it for an hour and a half, you're getting how many times that's said. When you're filming it for 5 days, we're saying it a lot more than that.
A lot more.
and it just, I think it's brilliant, because it's with something like that, you're kind of daring the audience to get frustrated at a film that they're meant to be enjoying. And that's quite a strange tactic for a film to do, to kind of try and make them get into the mindset and empathize with a character that's not that empathetic, because you're feeling the frustration of hearing that over and over again. So
yeah, it's a reality of experience, like I did joke originally when I wrote this that there's a 12 hours director cut,
yeah,
and you get to hear the phrase a lot more.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Grim.
I think Leon, you and Orlando, shared an Airbnb during the filming. Was he there at night, sort of outside your door, just like whispering it to you, just to keep you in the zone?
No, fortunately not. We were going back and frantically trying to learn the lines, or the monologues or whatever of the next day. So there was a lot more of that, and yeah, weirdly, kind of being stuck with him for 5 days was a really brilliant way of just becoming so close to him and absolutely adoring him and loving this guy. Because I think if I hadn't been able to see how nice he was outside of filming, then I don't think I'd ever. Well, he's not here for a reason, But
it's a shame he's not here, because I think people don't believe he's a nice guy.
Yeah,
he is a really nice guy.
Yeah, he's so sweet. So I think it was important for the filming, but it was also important because this is his first feature, and it's a big amount of weight to be put on someone's shoulders, where you have to, you are the one that has to say this line over and over again.
And he wasn't allowed to be tired. You were allowed to play tired.
Yeah, I can play knackered, I can play frustrated. And he was coming home, and interestingly, at the Airbnb, he was coming back and he was like, "Mate, I can't say that fucking line again." And I was like, "Yeah, man." I was like, "I do not envy you." Yeah.
And obviously, you guys were sort of like going through hell, sort of like trapped in this tattoo studio together. Michael, your character's kind of, got it's quite cushy. He's outside, he's got snacks and things. I'm guessing, it was very contrasting filming for you.
I think it appears cushy. I think the thing with my character, with Truth, underneath all of that, I think he has the understanding that within all this chaos, there's something to be learned. And so his relationship with Tommy always brings about these kind of situations where I don't understand what this uncertainty is going to bring, but usually it's brought something that we can take moving forward, So there's kind of like a calmness within where it's like, I understand there's some money to be made here, but outside of that, whatever's to come out after this is probably going to be for the benefit of all of us, including Tails.
Yeah, Truth kind of legitimizes the madness that's happening within. Like, if you didn't have your character on the outside and kind of supporting Tummy, then I think it would just be like, what's going on, kind of thing. Whereas you kind of understanding this is an important thing that needs to happen, while also the pressure cooker element of it. I think it's vital.
But also, I think for the audience, like, I think the experience you have when we return to Michael is a sense of relief.
Yeah.
It's like we have a feeling of safety, and we have a feeling like this is a calm presence.
Yeah.
There's no calm inside the shop. And Michael is just like a sort of sea of calm. It's like, oh, thank goodness, here we are. We're back with, and it's nice. It's a nice break to just be in a fancy car.
Yeah.
With Ruth.
I think that's right. I also think like Tommy isn't the most likable character because he is kind of the antagonist, and Tails isn't likable because he's an asshole. Whereas Truth is really likable, and I think kind of coming outside and spending some time with like a guy that you're like, oh, I like this guy.
Yeah.
Oh, good. I think that's the film wouldn't survive without it.
Yeah, we need that sort of
respite,
calm energy. Yeah.
I think there's quite a nice sort of ambiguity about Tommy, because there's the reading that he's kind of like a a frustrated musician that's, fed up of being hounded, by anybody on the street, for like, they say the camera steals your, a bit of your soul. And essentially, he's got people doing that all the time. But then there's also this other reading of it where he is sort of like a low-key sort of like god of mischief almost. Are you interested to see what the reaction's going to be like later and, how people are reading this character?
Yeah, I'm loving that people are picking up on that. That was
Mm.
certainly, this idea of the trickster archetype was really in there for me. And yeah, it's I think the film is intentionally designed so that you can read it in different ways. I think if that's something that resonates with you, it's in there and that makes me happy. But it's also, the story works if it is, as you say, just a frustrated musician. But yeah, it's very exciting for me to see how the audience is divided, how people pick up on these things
Yeah.
differently. And
it's also nice because we treat celebrities like huge celebrities. We kind of treat them like gods. This kind of fan worshipping. So it's kind of like, yeah, he kind of becomes a little bit of the manifestation of the way that he is treated on the streets on an average day. And like this guy is kind of doesn't really like him and is using him for his fame rather than using him for any kind of like worshipping. It's like it's the opposite of that, but he still wants this thing that he thinks he needs to get. So that kind of almost conjures more of the godlike mischief out of him.
But it's a hard thing to pull off. So I've got to really give credit to Orlando for that, because I think he walks that line really nicely where he always feels like a real person, but he just manages to open the door to the possibility that he's something else.
Yeah.
And I think he does a really beautiful job of that.
Well, thank you guys for your time and wish you the best of luck with the screening tonight.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good chatting to you.